Welcome aboard, everybody. It is 1 o'clock here, and we are doing our inaugural webinar for training on some MLS topics. We are trying to be innovative in delivering some relevant content through new delivery systems that we haven't done before, because we know you, as our agent and our members, are adapting as well to these very unique times. So we hope you're staying safe, following all the right protocols that's being provided, and we will keep adapting and we will flourish through this. But we are really excited about using Zoom technology today to deliver our first webinar training session. So we reached out to our members and about things that you would need to help get through these challenging times. And we heard a resounding, I want my MVT. So now you're going to get your MLS video training session. All right, ask and you shall receive. So we are glad to be able to do that. And now we are switching to a new camera. So again, we're working out the kinks for this first time. But today, let's go. Today's topic is going to be about having client conversations with COVID-19. How are we going to deal with buyers and sellers? And we're going to talk about several different items today. And again, on the seller side, how do listing statuses affect days on market? We'll talk about 4 different listing statuses. We'll talk about coming soon, temp off market, canceled listings, and expired listings. Next thing we'll be talking about is about showing times. Got some really unique features out there right now, some default settings, some resources that will show you, our members, how to create your own virtual showings, which we feel is going to be something that's become more and more prevalent during these COVID-19 times. And finally, we're going to talk about a little about the importance of virtual tours and good photos. But again, let's just jump right into the mix. And Garrett's going to be helping me today. And I haven't introduced myself yet. For those of you, if we haven't met yet, I'm Jay Jennings, part of your MLS support team. And Garrett Eichner is behind the scenes today, helping us put all this together. So we are going to switch screens right now. Instead of having to look at this mug, all right, we're going to put on a PowerPoint presentation, and we are going to work through that in just 1 second. So, Garrett, is that something you can do for me, or am I going to have to pull that up? Okay. Almost. You want me to pull that one up, Sharon? Garrett? Welcome back to MVT. Give us 2 seconds here, guys, and we're going to get going with the presentation. Now, by the way, during the course of looking or hearing all the information that's being provided, in the bottom of your control screen, you'll have a little dashboard through the Zoom app. There's a place you can hit chat. So if you have any questions or comments about some of the content that we're talking about today, go ahead and click on chat, type in your question. Garrett is going to field those, and then we're going to have periodic breaks throughout today's presentation to go over those questions and answers so that everybody gets the info that they need. If you walk away today and something pops in your head, by all means, reach out to us. The MLS email that you could send those questions to about this material or anything else that's relevant for the tools and resources that you use, send that to MLS@baldwinrealtors.com. Okay, so Garrett and I both have access to that, so we look forward to hearing your questions and helping you the answers in a timely fashion. So let's see if we can get the PowerPoint presentation on, and we'll get rolling. And we should probably be here than probably about 30 minutes tops, guys. So we'll try and keep that under 30 minutes, but we know you're busy and we're ready to roll. So, okay, we've got the presentation on board. So let's go ahead and I'm going to skip forward here to the next slide. So what are we covering? So how do listing statuses affect sellers? Coming soon, temp off market, canceled, expired. We'll talk about syndication. And again, I'm talking about showing time. They have a new default setting that is going to default to no overlapping showings. Okay, so we don't want to have multiple agents and clients potentially scheduling showings at the same time, reducing the amount of the ability to spread the coronavirus. Okay, and I think this is probably be the highlight for a lot of us is they're going to have some videos, and I'll provide the links for you as well on how you can do virtual showings, which I think is going to be a big trend. So finally, we'll talk about virtual tours, virtual showings, and the importance of good photos. All right, so let's get to the next slide. Let's just do we're going to go right into listing statuses, and let's talk about and how they affect days on market. So let's get all the rules, and me being the compliance guy, let's just get this right out of the way. Coming soon, I think, is going to be a great conversation to have with potential listings and sellers. But again, same rules apply. Just because we're dealing with coronavirus doesn't mean that the rules are going to change. So basically, let's make sure if you have an MLS listing that's going to be coming soon, get it in the MLS within 3 business days of that listing effective date. And then don't do any marketing. Don't put a sign in the ground. Don't do any Instagramming, anything like that until that coming soon listing is in the MLS, okay? Same thing applies in rule number 2 here, as you see on screen, no showings, okay, by anyone. This includes previews, open houses, viewings by any kind of means, video, social media, or otherwise. So let's just make sure we're following those rules. And then let's go ahead and get to the meat of it here for how does coming soon status affect days on market and syndication. So again, most important thing is remember, just get it into the MLS within 3 business days. Coming soon status will stay at that status for 21 days. The system will automatically kick it back to active after 21 days. And then the days on market will reset back to 0. So that could be a conversation with sellers. Say, you know what, we don't know what's on the horizon yet with this COVID-19. Maybe we wait, or maybe should we list now? And here's an option to say, hey, let's get the home listed. Let's put it in coming soon. Let's give it 3 weeks, 21 days to see how things go, okay? And hey, if things go great, the system will turn it into an active status, 0 days in the market. That may buy some time, some comfort level where you can start doing some unique things for the client. So, but just remember, coming soon statuses do not get syndicated to Zillow, Trulia, or Realtor.com, okay? It would be something you could find in our MLS, and the only place you should find that is in HomeSnap, okay? For HomeSnap Pro, consumers will not see coming soon properties when they're using just the consumer-facing product. Okay, let's go to the next slide, because here's something that would transition into a listing that was coming soon, and the seller says, you know what, I'm still just not comfortable about putting the home active as yet. So we have the temp off status market. So this may be a transition. 21 days go by and the seller says, let's go to temp off market. Now this is a listing status that agents have the security rights to update in listing maintenance. If you remember, if you wanted to change a listing to canceled, you would need a broker level individual member to make that change for you. But this is something you can do on your own. And the unique thing about temp off market status is you can use this as long as you need to. It could be 2 days, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 2 months. So the nice thing is once that listing goes into that status, the days on market and the CDOM, the cumulative days on market, stop ticking. All right. So let's say you put that, you had a listing and went off temp off market today. 3 weeks from now, let's say you put it back as active, and today when it went from active to temp off market, it was on the market, let's just say 15 days on market. When you put it back on the market as active, 3 weeks from now, the next day it will go to 16 days on market. It will not pick up those 3 weeks in between. So that's really maybe a reassuring kind of feature for sellers and yourself that you could talk about. You still have an effective listing agreement, okay, but it is off the market and it's only going to be shown in our MLS. So just pay attention to that. And then let's move on to the next. Let's just talk about the pros and cons about this status. So again, the pros: days on market and the CDOM stop counting. All right, when they put it back to active, they pick up right where they left off. All right, it can be used as long as you need, and agents have the security rights to maintain temp off market listings. So let's just go over the few cons possibly. It's an off market status, so it's not going to get syndicated. Now the other thing, the temp off market ends with the expiration date. So again, you can use it as long as you want up until that expiration date. So if you have let's say you have a 6-month listing and it's 5.5 months into it, you can go temp off market, but you're going to start, when you're 14 days out, the system's going to start sending you emails saying, MLS number so-and-so is going to expire in 14 days. Either extend the listing or let it naturally expire. Okay. So let's, between coming soon and temp off market, here's a good time if you guys want to hit the chat button and send any questions to Garrett. Any comments, questions, concerns? Okay, so let me see if I can click on this here real quick. Okay. Okay, good deal. All right, right now everything looks good. So again, if you don't have any questions, but you come up with one later, just send it to mls@baldwinrealtors.com. If you want a copy of this material or any of the links we're about to show you, let's just send us that email and we'll make sure you get you the information. We're going to get the PowerPoint back up on here. So next listing status we're going to talk about is the canceled listing status. Okay, so right there on the top we have our MLS rule about the seller and broker mutually agree in writing that the property will be removed from the MLS. Now just remember, in this case, this is not like temp off market, that we will need to change that listing to a canceled status requires a broker security level. So either your broker or your office admin, reach out to them to make that happen. And so here's the important thing about days on market. Canceled listing must remain off the market for 30 days to reset the days on market. Okay, 30 days off the market. 90 days, it must be off the market to reset the cumulative days on market, the CDOM. So this is important to remember. So now, if you think that client is going to take that listing off the market for more than 30 days, and days in the market are really important to them, especially if you're deep into a 6-month listing, canceling it may be the way to go. And then copy clone. Let's go to the next slide, because here's it's important about listing maintenance for canceled listings. So if a seller wants you to bring that back, let's just make sure, guys, that we copy clone that listing. Okay, we do not want to recycle MLS listings that are with off-market statuses. Okay, so there's a screenshot of where you go into listing maintenance, maintain listings, and then select an action where you would copy clone, where you would pull up the canceled listing, copy clone it, and then you'll get a new MLS number, and then brand new days on market. Days on market will reset to 0 if the property has been off the market for 30 days. It will reset to 0. So let's just do a quick checklist to how to bring back a canceled listing, because we don't want anybody to get dinged and whatever. But so first, procure a new listing agreement. All right, then we can go in and copy clone the canceled listing. We would go in to the new listing we're creating and make sure you update the listing effective and expiration dates. Then it'll prompt you to copy all the photos, and if there are any documents, it'll ask you, do you want that to transfer as well? We say, yep, save the listing, critical part there, and then a new MLS number will be generated with 0 days on the market. Again, if it was off market for 30 days. Let's go to the next slide real quick. All right, let's talk about any questions about canceled listings and maintenance. Going once, going twice. Okay, we're going to move forward into the next slide. You guys are pros about this. All right, so the final listing status we're going to be talking about is expired listings. All right, so the listing naturally reaches the expiration date. So what happens now? All right, you would go into listing maintenance. You would want to select an action and copy clone an expired listing if that client wants to bring it back and it's already expired. So you would update, same thing as like a canceled listing, you would update the new listing effective and expiration dates, copy photos and documents, save the listing, and a new MLS number with 0 days on the market. That is going to happen on an expired listing. You can copy clone that expired listing the day of that expired date or any time after that. So make sure you're copy cloning and you're good to go. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so let's just quickly overview that. A seller wants to extend a listing, it should be done before it expires. Otherwise, you're going to need a copy clone with a new listing agreement. That contract, that listing agreement has expired. We can't bring it back to life on that one. So again, we just don't want to recycle expired listings. That's why we copy clone. The CDOM will continue to roll for that property until it is off the market for 90 days. So again, it expires, you copy clone it, very next day, 0 days on the market, but CDOM keeps on ticking, guys. So just a bottom note there, other agents call on canceled and expired listings, so prepare your sellers accordingly, saying, hey, you know, if we do cancel this listing, just be prepared. You might get some phone calls or some letters in the mail, but you know, I look forward to keep working with you in the future when we bring this listing back. All right, next slide, please. So let's move on into the next portion of today's MVT, MLS video training. All right, so let's look at showing time. Look at this graph right here, guys. What a telling tale of what's happened. This is for Alabama. For showings that have been scheduled. This is just in the last week compared to a graph of what happened at the same time last year. So you can see we were gradually trending up, and then boom, all of a sudden, right after some of the announcements for some of the potential school closings or whatever it may be, look at just boom, off the map. I'm going to give you a link so you can use this. So if you ever want to share that with sellers or within your office for training purposes or reference material, I'll have a link for you on how to get that later in this presentation. Or again, email me at mls@baldwinrealtors.com and we'll get you that material. So here's another thing that Showing Time is doing right now. They are defaulting all new listings that are using Showing Time settings to default to no overlapping showing. So you can see that after you create a new listing and you go into Showing Time setup under appointment restrictions, it is going to automatically display that for you. So you would have to go in there and change that to allow that. Don't know if that would be a great idea to do that right now, but they are trying to be a little bit proactive and saying, hey, let's do what we can on showings to at least eliminate any cross-contamination. All right, so just want to pay that out to you. Now here's what's something, guys, that some light bulbs should be going off right now about some new resources. Showing Time has gone out and created a couple of great videos that says, all right, how do I use Zoom with Showing Time? And as you can see, video 2, how can I set up my listings for videos for Showing Time? And so this, I think, I'm going to have links for you as well on this. And we're not going to go through all the videos here because they're a little bit lengthy, I think, for what we're trying to accomplish today. But again, coming up, if we go to the next slide. Here we go. So again, I know this will be hard for you to kind of write down. So just, again, email me, send a chat in session that you want to see this with your email, and I'll send this to you. So how to set up video showings with Showing Time. The third one is the second link is best practices for Showing Time setup. You can talk to, you can send about, or have discussions about, no overlapping showings. And the third one is that it was the chart about the impact of COVID-19 on the real estate showings in North America. It'll show North America in all, and you can break it down by state if you want to see what it is for Alabama. Okay? All right. So let's move on. And because I think by the way, I think virtual showings is going to be a big deal. So if you guys want to take a look at that, see what you think. So many buyers are now, they're quarantined, they're at home. So I think what segues into this next slide is how important photos, virtual tours, and virtual showings can be coming up moving forward. So let's just consider the impact of quality photos when buyers will be viewing many more listings online, right? They won't be out there driving around or setting up showings nearly as much. So good photos are going to be critical. I also expect the virtual tour business to go through the roof. So you may want to evaluate in your marketing plan on how that would affect your sellers and staying engaged with buyers and sellers, because again, they're going to be staying at home and sellers aren't going to be letting buyers in theirs. So virtual tours I can see being a big deal. Just as we segue, virtual showings I think are going to be very, very helpful to sellers and buyers to be engaged in the home buying process. We had a great conversation today with the folks at Black Knight and Paragon. They are working nonstop, 24/7 to hopefully provide a virtual showing product tool within Paragon. And we hope to have another one of these sessions here in the very near future to discuss that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So just some friendly reminders on photos and virtual tours so that you guys don't get stuck on anything. Photos must be a minimum file size of 640 by 480. Photos cannot be branded. So in those photos, it can't have for sale signs, watermarks, logos, anything like that. And then main photo for the single family residence, make sure it's an exterior view of the main structure. No interior views, balcony views, sunsets, dolphins, all that kind of good stuff that we're so proud about here in Baldwin County. So main photo of the structure. Virtual tours, this is important to recognize. Again, I think the volume is going to go up. Virtual tours on the MLS should be non-branded as well. So you create that nice video. The people who do that are pretty cognizant of the fact that they're going to be creating two different types of them for you, the virtual tours. One is going to be a branded and one is going to be a non-branded. The branded one you can use on your own personal marketing for like on Facebook or whatever it may be. But when you put it on the MLS, it should be an unbranded virtual tour. The other thing important is to remember is the landing page also needs to be unbranded. So they get, let's say the video finishes up and it falls onto your YouTube page. The YouTube page cannot have real estate sales and services or marketing information on there saying this is Jay Jennings at Realty ABC, whatever. And so that has to be non-branded as well. So just and as a reminder, if you ever want to add that into listing, you can add virtual tours by going into listing maintenance, and under property details, Paragon provides for 2 virtual tour fields. So that's where you would put the links to those virtual tours there, and you can do up to 2. And now I think we'll probably see something for virtual showings, but that is something that hopefully we'll be able to discuss in the very near future. So let's do a quick overview of today's materials. Here would be a good time now, again, at the bottom of your screen in your dashboard, if you want to click on chat, any comments, questions, concerns you have about the material being presented, please let us know. This is what we covered today: how listing statuses affect days on market. Coming soon, we know that it has to be entered into the MLS within 3 business days. It'll stay in coming soon for 21 days and then automatically change to an active status, at which point it converts to 0 days on market. Coming soon rules apply as always, but still have that conversation with sellers who are maybe on the fence about listing. Coming soon may be an option, which rolls into the next listing status of temp off market. They said, let's go with it. We'll wait 3 weeks to 21 days for coming soon. Still not comfortable. Temp off market can be updated by the listing agent for as long as you needed to, up into the expiration date. Days on market and the CDOM stop counting until changed back to active, okay? And then how do listings affect canceled status? Okay, again, if you want to change an active listing to canceled, this must be done by a broker or somebody at that same security level. If you want to bring that listing back, it should be off the market for 30 days for the CDOM to reset back to zero. It'll be 90 days for the CDOM, but the days on market will reset after 30 days. Please do not recycle MLS numbers, copy, clone, canceled listings. Finally, expired listings. Again, if they naturally expire, you want to copy, clone the expired listing on or after the expiration date, where a new MLS number will be created with 0 days on market. CDOM does keep ticking, okay? So again, thank you for copy cloning. Do not recycle expired listings. Let's cover what we had for showing time. So a few things. Showings will now default to no overlapping showings. I've provided some video links for you on how to create virtual showings, and also a link for if you wanted that report on how COVID-19 has affected real estate showings in Alabama. Finally, on the last slide, we covered the importance of quality photos and virtual tours and how to add those into the MLS, and looking very seriously at how virtual showings will come into play into the real estate market, and hopefully something again that we'll have available through Paragon. And so, guys, we certainly appreciate you spending some time with us today. Again, we appreciate you working with us through these little kinks, as this is our first run on giving you some video training and tutorials. We hope it's effective. We plan on providing more material in these meetings through Zoom and similar formats, so that you are engaged. You know that your continuity of services is not going to be affected by this COVID-19 thing. We as an association are here to provide you the services you expect and deserve. Some of us may be working remotely, but we have practices in place where you can call, and every one of us will be available to reach out to you by phone or by email in a timely fashion. So here's the contact information on the MLS support team. To the left, myself and Garrett, and yes, we use the same barber. Shared email, mls@baldwinrealtors.com. But don't hesitate in calling us directly. My number direct is 270-2725. Guys, if you haven't signed up, if you're a member with us and signed up for Shareology on Facebook, there's a link for that. So make sure you send me an email. You'll have all these links on how to join Shareology, get these reports from showing time, and we really look forward to working with you. We appreciate your time. Stay safe, and we'll be in touch in the very near future. Have a great weekend, everybody.